Hey everyone, it's Jay here, back again, and we're bringing you another episode of our Cafe Verite series, where we're actually showing you what we do behind the bar here at Spro in Baltimore. So first things first is every once in a while we need to refill our syrup bottles. So we make batch brews of our house-made syrups. We're actually taking, it's basically a simple syrup, sugar and water, and just mixing it together in a 50-50 ratio. Pretty much a very simple approach. Well, that's why it's called simple syrup. And we put them into glass bottles. Now the bottle we have, I actually dropped the other day, and it shattered, so I needed another one, and we had a bottle of this free, alcohol-free wines that are actually quite good, and so I just had that around, so we put that out, cleaned it out really well, of course, rinsed it out, filled it with the syrup, and then filled it up. Of course, Sergio doesn't like that, so he scrubbed off all the labels. If I had Chateau Montelena, I would probably leave them on there so that we could flex a little bit. So our first drink today in the series is iced mocha. And as you can see, I went to the back. We keep the ganache. We use a house-made ganache that's actually in that little glass. So for the iced mocha, we want to mix. We're actually mixing the coffee and the ganache together, mainly because the ganache is kept under refrigeration, so it's cold and it needs to melt. And if we put it into the cold drink, it would be very difficult to homogenize into the mix. See, as you can see, we put how we make our ice drinks is that we fill the vessel, the cup with ice all the way. And then we take our milk and we actually steam it a little bit, steam and froth. And what this does, it actually converts the sugars and sweetens the milk as well as giving it texture. So we pour that in and it chills down the milk right away. So if we were to put the ganache in there, it would dissolve at a certain point. However, it would take a while for it to dissolve. So we put it into a glass and then we'll actually pull the shot on top of the ganache that's in the glass, stir it together before putting it in. And the ganache is really special. I spent a long time looking at different chocolates and found this wonderful chocolate from Colombia made by the Nacional de Chocolates down there. And it's a beautiful, fruity, dark chocolate that has nice cherry notes to it. It's really, really wonderful. And so as you can see, we're pulling that shot directly on top of the ganache, which will help to warm it up and melt it together. And then I'm just going to stir it together. I'm pressing against the glass to try to mush the ganache to get it to combine and to melt, and stir it a little bit now that it's got the mushiness and it's fully combined now. Now I'm going to pour it on top. And if you notice, I just drove the spoon right before it. So I found that when driving the spoon through the ice and the milk actually creates a little channel for the mix to flow through, and that way it doesn't cover the entire foamy top with brown, right? So what we're looking for is nice brown liquid, but also a very white cap on top. And so by driving the bar spoon before it, it actually creates a little bit of a channel to allow the ganache and espresso mixture to flow through. And so that's already been served. Time to clean up, a little bit of cleaning the steam wand. You always want to wipe and purge, keep the steam wand clean, keep it hygienic. There's nothing more unappetizing, I think, as a coffee drinker than going to a coffee shop and seeing their steam wand crusted with dried milk, especially when they've done so much when it's turned brown. Like, that's just, there's really no excuse for that in modern times. So here we are, we're making another drink. I believe we're making an Americano this time. One of our regulars likes to come in and order Americano. Yeah, that looks right. Yes, I'm going to turn around and go over to the hot water tower, fill that up. And for us, Americanos are very much about, we want to float the espresso on top. The ideal Americano, in my mind, is one that's espresso crema is completely intact and whole on top of the surface of the Americano. And Americano, for those of you who are not familiar, Americano is basically double shot espresso with hot water. Now, different shops will do it different ways. Some places will just mix them willy-nilly, but we want it to float just like that. Look at that. The crema is nice and intact. It's got good color, reddish brown crema, really lovely. That's really ideal. And so the way that we cultivate our espresso is that when the shot comes out like that, we're almost guaranteed to get nice chocolate notes, good round body. Depending on the blend that we're using at that moment, we might have some good fruity notes and then a really nice clean nuttiness on the finish is really what we're aiming for. And so as a barista, we can only use visual cues to determine whether or not we're going to be successful. And so just seeing that shot there in this video where it's got this beautiful reddish brown crema and it's fully intact, that's really kind of telling me that this is the ideal shot. This is the ideal espresso, and by putting that on top of the Americano, it will be ideal and tasty. All right, next up, we've got our cappuccino. Someone come in and order a cappuccino. So as you can see, we used an 8-ounce paper cup for this. Everything right now in COVID has been to go. We don't have anything in-house. And this guest has asked for a little bit of sugar, so we put our brown sugar, demerara sugar, a couple scoops. You know, usually I'll ask the guest, if you come in and say, hey, how many sugars would you like? And if you are the kind of drinker that likes, you know, sugar or modifiers, let us know before when you're ordering. That way we can put it in, because, you know, basically my belief is that I would like you to come in and your task really should be about consuming and enjoying your drink. Instead of having, like a lot of places, they'll just give you a condiment bar and they'll give you your cup and they'll ask you things like, do you want room for cream? And it's like, you know what? That is just not well thought out. And so if you come in and you're like, hey, I would like a cappuccino, could I get a couple sugars with that? We're happy to put that in there. And what we're going to do is I put the sugar in, I'm going to pull the shot, I'm going to steam the milk, and then I'm going to take that steamed milk, I'm going to incorporate a little bit, just a little bit, into the espresso after it's pulled with the sugar, and then stir that around. That foaminess in the milk is going to help to capture the crema of the espresso without, you know, diluting, without it dissipating. And then it's also going to serve to, you know, of course, dissolve and mix in the sugar so that when we pour the milk right now, it fully is incorporated. Look at that. That's exactly what. Fully incorporated. There's nice foam. It's glossy. It's just lovely this way. And so all you as a guest have to do now is drink. You don't have to go and think about, oh, I need to put some sugar. I need to do this. I need to do that. Could I get a spoon? Could I get this? You just need to go and drink. And that's really my intention. All right, so we've got banana milk next. This is the banana mix from our Spro vlog number 53. I think it's 53. One of the 50s. And this is something that we make. This is a puree. It's basically ripe bananas with demerara sugar, a little bit of milk blended together into this deep, thick puree. There's a whole video about this. And then we'll take that puree, mix it with milk, whole milk, and then we're going to stir it together. And this drink is actually one of my favorite fruit milks. It is just knockout. If you like bananas, and if you hate bananas, you're not going to like this at all. But this is just massively stellar. Like, when we were doing the video for the vlog, I mean, in the vlog series, you usually see me or someone else drinking, and especially if you see me, I'm really just drinking it for the camera. I'm not really drinking the whole drink. But I tell you what, when I had the one on the camera, I sucked this whole drink down. So I really think it's a delicious, delicious fruity concoction, a lot of milkiness. And, okay, here we go. Listen to this conversation. Is this the one? Oh, so we've got a Nightwatch with Splenda and a latte with Splenda. And so this one I wanted to show you because we're doing two drinks. This is a one order with two drinks, so we want to, you know, deliver the two at the same time. That's really the goal. Whenever we have multiple drinks, is that I would like for us to deliver the drinks at the same time so that each guest has their drink at the same time and at the same temperature, especially if they're hot. And also what we want to do is, like, especially when there's multiple baristas working behind the bar, it's really about coordinating together so that, let's say, even if we have 4 drinks, we get everyone together to deliver the drinks at the same time. Because there's nothing more frustrating, I think, in a dining experience than, whether you're dining at a restaurant or drinking at a bar or at a coffee shop, when you or someone in your group gets a drink or gets their food, and then you have to wait. Or it may take so long that someone gets a drink and they finish it first, and then you still haven't got yours, and now you're just out of sync, and we don't want our guests to be out of sync. And so, as you saw in this one, preparing the Nightwatch, I'm getting off track, but the Nightwatch, we grind our coffee, and the Nightwatch that we're using is a really nice deep roasted coffee. So we're taking that well past second crack, just into a little bit of the oils coming out to get that roastiness, just that nice deep, but without the char. We don't want the char. Like, a lot of companies will introduce char into their flavor, and we don't want the char. We just want to bring a nice deep roasted flavor. And as you can see here again, when you ask for modifiers like the Splenda, we're going to add that beforehand so that it's all ready for you to enjoy without much forethought. But back to what I was saying, so the dark roast, we want it to be nice and robust and really kind of punchy, but without being burned. And that's kind of the difficult part of it all. And then the most important thing is that a lot of companies will buy lesser quality coffee for things like their dark roast or even their decaf. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. If we want to buy really high quality coffee for even our dark roasted coffee, because I think that flavor shows through. That quality will always show through. You get a lot of people out there and they're talking about, when you dark roast it, you cover everything. And, there's a certain truth to some of that. Depending on how dark you roast it, you can cover up and mask defects and other problems in the coffee. But if you start out with great coffee, all you can do is just enhance that experience. All right, so as you can see, we mixed the cappuccino here with a little bit of Splenda together. Now that's done, and I'm just kind of waiting for this to finish. Actually, to be honest with you, I think I really started the cappuccino a little bit early. I even thought about this at the time that I was making it, that, grind the coffee, prepare the shot, and just let it wait, and then leave the milk cold in the pitcher and let that wait, so that by the time the timer starts beeping with the clever method here. So what we're doing with the clever is we're going to allow the coffee to steep and infuse for 3 minutes. Then we're going to put that on top of the cup, and it's going to open the valve and allow the coffee to flow through. And that usually takes about a minute. So when I'm I guess I didn't think that too clearly, but basically, ideally I would have staged all the stuff for the cappuccino. Then right now, as it's beeping, when I place this on top of the cup and it starts to flow, then I would go back to the machine and start the cappuccino. And that would really give us the result that we're looking for, meaning that they should all finish at the same time. It should take me about just under a minute to actually assemble the cappuccino, and then the Nightwatch will be done, and then I can give the drink to both people. Right now, here's where I kind of made a mistake. The guest has one of his 2 drinks, and they're just waiting, right? So one person has their drink, the other one doesn't, and they kind of have to wait. So I just had another guest come in and ordered a chamomile tea. And we keep a nice little selection of teas in the shop. We work with we started by working with a friend of mine who really, really has great relationships with different tea gardens around the world. He's actually moved on from the company that we're buying from, and so we are still buying from this same company, but my buddy's moved on. I'd actually like to reconnect with them again and really get more into the tea. But anyway, so the chamomile, we take tea fairly simply. We take the tea. This is a chamomile. We measure it out, hot water, let it steep for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, depending on the tea, and then pour it out. What I'm using there is this thing called the VO1 tea brewer, and I think for a commercial setting, this is the best tea brewer on the market today, hands down. I'm really enthusiastic about it. There's a place called Mad Monk Tea in San Diego, California. And one of my friends, Annie Ruth Pimentel, we were together in San Diego several, 5, 6 years ago or whatever. And we were there, went to this tea shop. They had this, and I was just so blown away. Just so much easier to work with. I think I talked about it in the last video, so I won't keep ranting on it here. All right, so you've got the Vietnamese iced coffee. This really is the drink that I hate to make the most. And I totally made a video about it on the Ono Coffee channel that called My Despised Vietnamese Coffee. And man, every time somebody orders it, it's like, oh no. It's just that it takes a long time to make. That's really it. And I just don't like how long it takes. But in order to do it correctly, it does take the time. So there's no real way around it. Like a lot of Vietnamese restaurants and other shops will do some kind of heavy-duty, hard brew coffee, and then I don't know how they reheat it or whatever they do, and then they just kind of like use a lot of shortcuts. And here we don't want a shortcut. If we're going to offer it, we want to offer it like as hardcore as we can. You know, we want it to be quality, and so using the Fin Cafe, which is the brewing device you see me pouring the water into, that's really the traditional way of doing it in Vietnam. And then we use sweetened condensed milk. We use a specific one from a company called Longevity. It's just got, I think, the correct flavor for the drinks that are made in Southeast Asia. It's really a popular one there. And it's actually one of the most expensive sweetened condensed milk. Like if you compare it to the price of Carnation, it's dramatically expensive, like a good 50 cents plus per similar size can. But I think the flavor is really where it is on that. And we mix it with our Nightwatch. We use that. So we don't use, the one big company from Vietnam, they use a coffee that's probably a lot of Robusto, and it's probably got a lot of defects. It's a pretty rough tasting coffee, and they mask a lot of that defect in the coffee with chocolate flavoring. So they get a really, really chocolatey character to their coffee because basically they flavor it with artificial chocolate. So we don't do that. We just try to get a nice quality coffee, roast it darkly, and if it gets chocolatey flavors, that's because it's inherent in the coffee rather than us adding a flavor component to the drink. And so as you can see, it just takes a while. You just got to keep adding on. And here we are. We have someone else coming in.
So the same iced cappuccino?
Yeah.
From yesterday.
Oh, from yesterday. Okay.
So, cappuccino
Right. So iced cappuccino and
with one extra shot
with one extra shot
and
And a cappuccino.
and a regular cappuccino.
Like a large.
We only have one size cappuccino.
One, the Spro.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, it's a latte.
Okay, no.
Would you
Just
prefer?
yeah, no, that is fine.
All right, so I just wanted you to hear a little bit of that conversation because these are the kind of conversations we have with our guests from time to time. Everyone is used to going to other coffee shops where they have many different sizes. Here at Spro, we only have one size per drink. So if you come and order a cappuccino with us, it's going to be one size, which is a 6 ounce for in-house or 8 ounce to go. Just the cup size is 8 ounce. And even if you were say large cappuccino, we're still serving you the same thing. Even if you say like the guest ordered like iced cappuccino, we don't really have an iced cappuccino. We have an iced latte because there's only one size of that. But do we want to get too heavily into the conversation about nomenclature and terminology? We don't really want to do that. It's basically like you go to that one big chain and they want you to conform to whatever their naming structure is. And you know what? Really, honestly, to me, that's just pedantic. I just don't have any interest in that. I really would prefer that we come in and we just have a discussion. Hey, can I get a small? Or can I get a large? In our case, at Spro, we don't really have small or large. We just have the drink, and that drink has already had a size to it. So if you said you wanted a large coffee or a medium coffee or a small coffee, you'd still get the same 12-ounce coffee. And if you said it to me, I'm not going to try to correct you or anything because that just doesn't make any sense. Here's our coffee. Here it is. We have one price. We try to make it simple. So we're rolling along, and we're making the iced latte and a cappuccino. But like with the guest, she comes in, she wants to know about the cappuccino, and she said large cappuccino. I said, well, if you'd like, we can make it a latte. And there is a difference, like I just don't think, I think that cappuccino is one size, and lattes can be whatever you want it to be, because once you go past the ratio of cappuccino, which is essentially the old school way that I like, 2-2-2, so 2 ounces of espresso, 2 ounces of milk, 2 ounces of foam. Once you go beyond that, it's latte, because it's just a preponderance of milk rather than a balance. So as you can see, in this case, with this latte, we've steamed the milk, the iced latte, poured it over the ice just like we want, and then pulled the shot on top. We always want to pull the shot directly into the vessel that we're serving it in as much as possible. Early in this video, so we did this mocha where we mixed it together. That's only because we need to heat up and melt. Oh, nice little latte. Heat up and melt the chocolate. If we could, we would pull the shot directly into the cup here. And as you can see, there's really a nice foam cap, really white, and then that brown body of milk. So before we serve it, we're going to stir that up to combine fully. Oh, this guest wanted to have an extra shot, so we're putting another double shot. If you come into the shop and you're like, I need 3 shots of espresso for my drink, we'll charge you for the 3 cents, but you're going to get 4. Well, there's really no difference. The price of 3 and 4 is the same. So we're just going to give it to the whole thing, because I just think it's better that way. You get more. Why waste anything? All right, so that's pretty much it for that drink. We're still rolling along now, serving the guest. Ooh, we're coming up towards the end. It's interesting. Like I told you in the other videos, I'm concerned about letting these videos run really, really long. This one is timing out at about 23 minutes, and we're kind of we're past 22 minutes. And when I'm assembling these videos, I think it's going to take too long, and I don't want to bore you, but as I'm narrating it, gosh, it's really flown by. All right, so we're back again to this Vietnamese iced coffee, still pouring. See, as you can see, it takes forever. Just drives me bonkers, But, it is a delicious drink, so I really can't complain about that. It's a wonderful drink, nice chocolate notes, milky, sweet, just delicious. Over ice, really wonderful, especially on the hot days. Oh my gosh. Like right now we're in the summer of Baltimore. Baltimore summers are sweltering, so these are great drinks to have. I just don't like making them. And sometimes I wonder, do people watch the videos and then conspire against me to come in and order the drink just to see my reaction? I wonder. All right, so there it is. We're going to mix the condensed milk. It's really, really thick, so you really got to be careful, because if I go too hard with the sloshing, it sloshes outside the glass. And I'm using about a 9-ounce Gibraltar rocks glass there. Kind of what we have. We actually use this glass for our cuppings, and then we pour it over ice. Fantastic. Now I've got to wipe it up a little bit, made a little bit of a mess. Cap it off. We're getting away from the stuff. So subscribe. Love to have you as a subscriber. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Tell your friends. This is Cafe Verite. Thank you very much. Have a great day.